My name is Ben Sanderson. The title of the show is Ouroboros, and it's at Mirror Gallery in Plymouth. A few years ago, my mum gave me a quilt she'd been making since she was 18. It's built up of hexagonal shapes made from fabric she'd been collecting for years. The same sequence is repeated to form a rose-like pattern. Either she couldn't finish it, or the pattern just kept growing. It now sits on my bed in a brilliantly uneven shape. It led me to quilting paintings by following patterns that always seemed to fall a bit out of sync. These patterns felt good, and I got obsessed about top stitching. The ability to chop and change meant patterns turned into collage. My studio could be plundered for material, and I could combine different painterly pasts while trying to find an image. This process has reactivated years of old work. Paintings come together and fall apart, opening a slow-gazing eye at what I even think practice is. Paintings don't sit in linear space anymore. They become collective pasts. I set out to make a show using old paintings as kind of a starting point and use them to create a new layout for the gallery. Like, I kind of knew the space a bit, and I always kind of remembered these like 4 columns, and I wanted to kind of use them within that and create a kind of obstacle or something that you had to then navigate around. In my previous exhibition, which was at Kessel Barton, that show was made in response to a kind of 3-year project where I worked in a garden, and that kind of show, I guess, became very much about the garden's edge and the borders and the control and like the way that we like to maintain this kind of very natural space. I feel like the backs of the paintings are a bit like going next door. They're the thing you can't control, or the kind of subconscious thoughts and all of the other bits of painting that maybe I haven't really been able to deal with or not knowing what to do with. And like seeing these two sides of the thing I do want to see and the thing I don't want to see. Like, the show's become quite an autobiographical thing from like the last 10 years, I suppose, which again is something I've kind of discovered through just the process of making and putting it together. There was a decision to light the front of the work, and then in lighting the fronts, it's revealed this kind of glow from the backs, and that also has kind of, in some instances, the two kind of actually come through together, so you're actually viewing the front and the back at the same time. And they've kind of started to kind of resemble a kind of stained glass. I've been particularly interested in one of the paintings where it's kind of revealed a drawing which happened before the oil painting on top, so it's kind of become like a watermark, or you're starting to like unpick layers of previous work, but through this kind of through lighting, and that's a very new thing which I haven't experimented with before. So there's been these things in the back of my mind as I've been making the show. So like layout would be one, but then also there's been like, what do you do with like 10 years worth of paintings that are in a studio when you've kind of moved on from the images and they're not necessarily really working for you as paintings anymore. I kind of refer to this in the text, but over the years my paintings have turned into things, so like tea cozies or deck chairs or an awning or a tent, and I just thought actually maybe the wall could just become another object. The Southwest Showcase has offered time and space to explore a new idea within my practice, which it sidesteps kind of what my work has been before. It's still made out of paintings and it's still about painting, and I'm still thinking a lot about painting, but it's kind of sidestepped this into more of an installation. It's been interesting to expand the practice out in this way. It's almost like giving me an opportunity to just take a step back and a look at what's been going on over the last 10 years of making. And I guess I wanted to try and find like a bit of a deeper kind of like psychological impulse in the work and the things that I was really drawn to. Memories are difficult to control. Poetry seems to be a more accurate way to contemplate the way words interact in the mind. There is a blender in my studio which I use to turn offcuts and scraps of paintings into rag paper. As a surface, it feels expansive in its state of becoming. The blender is collage accelerated and left to chance. The individual images become less important, and the fragments build a kind of dislodged archive. Memory is embedded in the surface, comprised of small tangible moments, but the tangibility does not equal complete understanding and connection. The years and months turn into minutes and seconds, and everything begins to feel still.